Hey there guys, my name's John, this is the FlickPick channel, and I just got back from orbiting the sun. Literally, look at this. Look what's happening up here. Looks like I have third-degree burns. I almost look like Darkman. I need to wrap some bandages around my head, put on a trench coat, and go fight crime. So World War Z, a $200 million zombie movie. And we'll talk about the budget of this movie in just a few minutes. But first of all, this movie stars Brad, I call him Brad the Pitt, as a retired UN worker who's cruising down the street one day with his family. Hell unleashes on Earth. The zombie apocalypse starts. By the way, in this movie, they are referred to as zombies several times in the movie. Though they like to bite people, you never truly see them eating their flesh. Like, you see them bite. That's my impression of a zombie from this movie. I never really understood in this movie why they had the temptation just to bite people, but they never ate them. I didn't get that. So anyway, continuing on with the plot of the movie, Brad Pitt, due to his past, he's selected to go out and figure out where this started and what's happening. Now in this movie, they never completely divulge what he did for the UN. It just led to believe that he's like the to-go guy whenever something crazy happens, I guess. So in order to figure out where this outbreak came from, Brad Pitt, one other smart guy, and a handful of soldiers get on this plane. Meanwhile, his family's stationed back on this battleship. Now, this movie is based on some pre-established source material known as a novel, a book. It's some kind of literature. I never read the book. I don't know anything about it. So when I went into this, I just judged it on the movie. I didn't really have a preconceived notion of what happened in the book. And by the way, if you guys have read the book, let me know if you guys like this movie. Was it a good adaptation? Let me know down below. Okay, we'll keep going. Now, one thing I found kind of hard to buy was that the US's hope to solving this epidemic was Brad Pitt and one other smart guy who was in his like early 20s, is like a Harvard smart guy type who basically explained the outbreak as like a mass murderer who likes to kill but leaves little cookie crumbs behind to get caught. Kind of a bizarre. This guy was honestly, there was something else going on with this guy. Like, he killed a hooker somewhere in his past. You just know he did. All I'm saying is I thought there'd be a few other smart people thrown at the problem rather than just two guys, and one of them includes Brad Pitt. Now throughout this movie, all the situations that Brad Pitt's character gets stuck in trying to figure out this epidemic, I realized something about his character. He really doesn't have any special skill sets. He truly doesn't. The only thing he has going for him in this movie is he's always the guy who has common sense. Literally, everything he figures out, it's not because he's a scientist or a chemist or, a soldier. He just has common sense and just is like, okay, that right there makes sense because it goes right there. Now let's talk about the budget of this movie. $200 million for a zombie movie. That's definitely probably the most expensive zombie movie ever made. And this movie had a lot of grand scenes in it with, these big mass CGI zombies running at walls, climbing it up, explosions in the background. It had a lot of special effects. But for the most part, a majority of this movie's runtime is actually spent in interior scenes or close-quartered areas, in like laboratories or like an apartment. But in my opinion, some of the best scenes of this movie took place when they were in close-quarter environments, and especially one sequence where they're in this laboratory, and let's just say they have to get from point A to point B, and there's a whole bunch of zombies in the way. I don't know, I really enjoyed the scene. It was well paced out, and there's a lot of, intensity and trying to sneak around and not alert the zombies to their presence. Now, overall, the style of this movie is very up-close, shaky cam, and it's not necessarily bad. I mean, it really puts you in that situation. It makes it a little bit more intense. Now, as far as the zombies go in this movie, these things are scary. Like, I'm all for the zombie apocalypse, the Walking Dead style zombie apocalypse, where the zombies are kind of walking around a little bit slow, and if I can do a light jog, I can outrun them. But in this movie, these zombies are sprinting, they're twitching all. What am I doing right here? What am I, a velociraptor, T-Rex? I don't know what the hell is going on. They're scary. Like, you cannot outrun these things. These things will huddle up and overtake anything. Yeah, the movie did a pretty good job at presenting these zombies as a threat to humanity. And overall, I thought that the CGI work was somewhat subtle at times when it needed to be. But when you had these big mass groups of zombies running around and helicopters flying around, I thought overall it was pretty good. It was blended well, so the effects look pretty good in this movie. I have no complaints. So World War Z, if you enjoy post-apocalyptic disaster movies with zombies in them, I say definitely go check the movie out. It's entertaining, and there's, bits of humanity in there, and there's also like a little bit of mystery. So it's not just this overly bloated, stupid movie. I enjoyed the movie. I'm gonna give World War Z a solid B. And also, the way that they leave this movie off, they're definitely leaving a lot of room for future installments, sequels to this movie. Now, I'm not quite sure because I was too lazy and didn't do my research, but I think there's 2 or 3 installments of the books of this. So they're definitely gonna attempt to make at least 2 or 3 movies out of this, which I'm down for that. I can see that happening. You know, if the movie makes enough money, we probably will see a sequel, but with a $200 million budget, that sounds, it's gonna have obstacles. So anyway, I enjoyed the movie. I recommend checking it out. I'm John, this is the FlickPick channel, and if you haven't already, make sure you check out my last video where we talk about the Wolf of Wall Street trailer and some new Blu-rays. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. That's my impression of a zombie from this movie.